I just got let go from my job without a warning at all. Nothing. I didn't see it coming at all. And I get paid through today, and that's it. I had no warning. Not a clue. Not a freaking clue. But companies can literally just call you and be like, hey, no, today's your last day.
So I just got laid off from my finance job, and after 8 years of living in New York City, I am moving back in with my parents at 26 years old.
My name is Chelsea Roller. I'm 30 years old, and I just got laid off by a company who I've been with my entire career, whole 13 years. Was out of the blue, expected, which is unfortunate.
I was just laid off. This is actually the first time I've ever been laid off, so I don't really know what to even do or how to process anything. I just dropped off my laptop.
I just got let go from my job without a warning at all. Nothing. I didn't see it coming at all. And I get paid through today, and that's it. And what's shocking to me is I had no warning. Not a clue. Not a freaking clue. But if we as employees, if we just up and quit, like we're not hireable, like we don't give a 2-week notice, that's shameful. But companies can literally just call you and be like, hey, no, today's your last day. And I was working. I was doing my work. I was a recruiter. You can't make people say yes to wanting to try to talk to you about a job opportunity. Oh, man. And I'm a single mom. I don't even know what to think or to feel. There's so many things running through my head, and I know that I'm not the only one. I have a bunch of friends that have gotten let go with so many layoffs and everything. You're not alone.
First and foremost, I'm sorry for her because she's a single mother and she's lost her sole source of income, it sounds like. So that's a terrible situation to be in, and I feel for her. What I'll say is this. She mentioned that she was a recruiter and that she had no idea the layoff was coming. Now, while I do believe her that she had no idea the layoff was coming in her specific company, I will say that we have to pay attention to broad economic trends. And if you're in recruiting and you know that the economy is in such a way that there's fewer hiring occurring and companies are scaling back on hiring, which could possibly affect your job because you are a recruiter and as such you work to hire people, that's something that you may want to pay attention to. So, a lot of times though, she is right. Layoffs come out of nowhere, especially if you're in private industry. A lot of states are at-will states, meaning companies don't owe you anything. They can't discriminate. They can't fire you for a reason that's, for example, because that's a protected reason, like, gender or race or whatever, just because of that. But aside from those situations, yeah, they can say bye-bye whenever they want, just like you can walk away whenever you want. She does make a good point that when employees walk away, it's customary to give 2 weeks notice. And if you don't, you could have some negative ramifications occur from that. Whereas the company can tell you day of, right in the middle of your shift, hey, you're done. It's called leverage. Whoever has the leverage makes the rules. Companies have the leverage.
So I just got laid off from my finance job, and after 8 years of living in New York City, I am moving back in with my parents at 26 years old. And honestly, I have felt stuck ever since graduating college, but somehow I am feeling optimistic about this, and I am ready to challenge myself in a way that I never have. I'm a former Ivy League graduate. I played Division I football as a quarterback there, and I took the finance route just like everyone around me. And I have been fitting into this mold that is not me for nearly 5 years now. And I know the me of the last 4 years would take this horribly and see it as me being a failure, but I'm going to take a different approach. So here's my plan. I'm going to use this as a launching point to rediscover who I am, what I have passions about, what hobbies do I want to pursue, what career do I want to pursue, do I want to build something myself, or do I want to join something that I truly believe in?
So his situation is completely opposite from the last person's situation. She is a single mother. He is a single guy who I'm assuming has no kids. They both look relatively young, but nonetheless, he's in a different situation than her, whereas for her, she has to figure out a way as soon as possible to get income to feed her kids or kid. And for him, he's using this opportunity to find himself and to figure out what he wants to do moving forward. And sometimes, I'm sure you all have heard of this, where some people, they tell their story and they say they were laid off or they were fired, and that moment was one of the best moments for them because it shook them out of that zone they were in, that routine they were in of working, a lot of times doing something they didn't like him, and allowed them to take the time to move forward to something that they actually do like. He's doing something I think is really good. He's moving home with his parents. A lot of people would be ashamed of that. A lot of people would not want to do that, and they may go couch surf or they may go do whatever they need to do to avoid doing that, but it might cause additional stress. Whereas him, it seems like he has a good enough relationship to move home, and he'll use the time to acquire new skills, to learn new things, and that's a great thing. So sometimes a blessing in disguise can come from being laid off or from being fired. You know, it also depends on the stage of life you're in and the specific life circumstances that you're facing.
My name is Chelsea Roller. I'm 30 years old, and I just got laid off by a company who I've been with my entire career, whole 13 years. I'm not looking at this layoff as a negative. Was I in my feels? Did I have my moment of sadness? Yes, absolutely. Was out of the blue, expected, which is unfortunate, but incredible support with my boyfriend and my parents and my grandparents. And I was talking to my grandpa, and he had this really enlightening thought of, you know, this is a graduation. You spent 13 years at a company. You were in school for 13 years. 13 is a very special number to me, which we can get into more later. I've graduated from this time in my life. I have graduated from this company.
She is 30 years old. She was with the company for 13 years. So I can do basic math. That means she started with that company when she was 17. Wow, that's actually unusual, I think. And it sounds like she went through school while she was with that company. Maybe they paid for her schooling, I don't know. But as she mentioned, just like the other guy, this may be a blessing in disguise. Maybe instead of staying with that one company and maybe not having as much growth as she could have, now she can spread her wings and experience more growth with a different company or a business or whatever she wants to do.
I've never been given an opportunity like this before. When I was 13 years old, I started working, and I've worked ever since. I danced every time I was out of school, and I would work at my dance studio. And as soon as I was able, I got a job. I worked full time when I was in high school. And then I graduated, I went to college, and I worked full time in college. So I've never not worked full time. So this 13 weeks is going to be very interesting for me. I'm a busybody. So that's also going to be really interesting. I don't know if I'm going to completely fill my schedule, but am I also going to give myself that space to breathe?
By all accounts, I'm gonna go ahead and say that she's probably in a very good situation financially, and so she's not stressed about this layoff. Just based upon everything she shared so far, she's a hard worker, so kudos to her. She's probably been saving since she was 13. As she mentioned, when she got her first job, she worked full time through college. I'm going to assume she probably doesn't have any debt. So these are some assumptions, but if I had to bet, I would bet that they're correct. So again, it's all about the personal situation. Again, juxtapose that to the woman who is now a single mother and just got laid off. Two completely different situations, and I feel for her. It goes to show that decisions you make in life that determine what position you will be into or you'll be in if the situation arises where you are laid off. Are you going to be in a situation of fear and angst and scrambling to find something else? Or are you going to be in a position to where you can take that time to better yourself and grow and come out the other side of that layoff, I guess, a better person, for lack of better words. Maybe not a better person, but just a different person, a better version of your former self.
I was just laid off. This is actually the first time I've ever been laid off, so I don't really know what to even do or how to process anything. I just dropped off my laptop. It sucks the most because I seriously was only at this company for 2 months. I literally got this job in October and loved every single second of it. Unfortunately, the company was acquired and a lot of us were let go. Nothing you can do about it, but it definitely sucks. I have no idea what I want to do. I don't know if I want to even keep working for a company or what. I got my real estate license back in early October. I'm like, maybe I should just pursue that. But I also really liked the idea of having like a stable income with a job. I'm also getting married this year and have lots of expenses. So yeah, I still know it's going to be a great year. Like, I'm truly trying to be positive. I know everything happens for a reason, but yeah, I guess we'll see what happens.
All right, guys, so not much more to say about this. I think I beat a dead horse enough. I mean, again, she's in a situation where, you know, it sounds like she has at least her fiance to fall back on for the time being, while she looks for another job, if she chooses to do that. And, you know, again, layoffs can come out of nowhere. Sometimes it's because a company downsizes. Sometimes in her situation, it's because a company gets acquired. And, you know, they trim the fat, like they call it sometimes, or they try to find ways to reduce costs. And one of the biggest costs for most companies is the payroll. Sometimes the economy is just crap. Sometimes companies innovate, you know, AI is coming, so they find ways to replace workers with improved systems or AI, what have you. So I think it's a lesson to all of us, and this is to always be learning. Like she said, she's in class to get her real estate license, so she at least was getting a skill on the side while she was working, so that's good. We should always be learning, always be improving. We shouldn't stay stagnant and we shouldn't get complacent thinking that things will always be as they are, because the only constant in life, as we all know, is change. And so what's true today most likely won't be true tomorrow. That goes to your job, it goes with a lot of things in life. Unfortunately, that's the situation. A lot of people are facing layoffs now. It's tough, which is also a lesson to us to prepare for the future. Think of our future selves. Don't always think about the now, but think about how are things gonna be in 6 months. Do I have 6 months worth of money saved or invested? Well, let's say saved and invested to survive for 3, 6, 12 months. Do I have skills that if I need to, I can go get a job and earn income while I look for money in some other way? Do I have skills I can use to offer to people to earn income as a side hustle or as a business? You know, things like that. Not just, okay, every day I go to work, I earn my money from my income, I like my job, I plan on being here for X amount of years, I'm good. No, any moment, not to sound so doom and gloom, but any moment, things could change and you can no longer be at that job. So that being said, thanks for sticking around the video. I really appreciate it. Feel free to like and subscribe. And until next time, make smart financial decisions.